So we can now take this. Can this take one more? I think it can. Can it? Can it? Yes, it can. It can. But the thing about it following that now is that it now kills that coverage I was trying to create just now. It's just weird. Like I said, this is all intuition now. Just follow what you feel looks good. So it flowed from all the way down here and comes down here as well. And this isn't allowing it look as good. So we're going to move this to the side a bit. Move this to the side a bit. And we'll just move this here and move this here a bit. So the idea is it flows from the top here and just flows downwards. I think instead of it following the second one, no, let's let it follow the top, this one. Let this one flow here this way. So replace. Now you know we've entered technical levels. Aha, now you know. We were just doing elementary phases before, and we're just still in Q. This is still Q. So I think now they're good. So this flows this way, this one flows this way and stop, this one flows this way and stop. Let's make sure these are not touching. So shift this up a bit, distribute. Aha. Can one enter here? No, because if we do that, we'll have to move this one. Okay. Not so much then. Okay, so we need this one to kind of align so they don't touch. Drag it up a bit. Drag this up a bit. Let's do some aligning. Yes. It's kind of a little off here. The curve doesn't really follow, but drag that up. This is you just eyeballing the thing. But of course, with all the techniques I've shown you, you could decide to find a much easier, much better way to do what I just did over there. And we can move this down a bit. Aha. So it enters into this new set of curves. So we've done that. Let's keep going. This is going to be one very long video. And I pray you take your time, go through it, and understand the things that be done. This is why I love Rhinestones. I'm like, Rhinestones would have saved us all this trouble. But you need to see how it's done without Rhinestones. Then you can now choose whether you want to buy Rhinestones or not. The curvatures didn't change, so let's apply. At least this has given us this one. These ones are touching. Truth is, we could have just decided to know if we change it, would it affect, like move it to the side a bit? Let's see, does it affect the design? Not really. No, it does, because we need this one to align with this one here. It needs to flow into it, so we can shift it. Okay, fine. And that means when you get here, we need to change the curvature here alone. On group, yes, this needs to go. This needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go. In fact, all of these need to go. The idea is we're trying to change the curvature to just come down rather than touch those ones. So we'll use that technique we learned earlier on. Click here and bend. This feels very difficult for me because, like I said, I would never. Okay, well, that's because I have house stones anyway. For someone that doesn't have house stones, you kind of don't have a choice. Create. So we've changed the curvature, but I don't like it. I think we need to put one of these circles here. So we know that we don't want it touching. So we take this circle this line that we drew, let's give it sky blue. No, orange, so we can see it. So create a node here and drag it to the center of the circle. Yes. Then we can change this curvature to be more aligned with the red and the black. So click. Was that at the center? Yes, it was. Why did it not create another one on top? Okay. All we have to do is get rid of this one. Fine. So, can see how we changed the curvature so it doesn't touch. But we still don't have, yeah. So we don't have that problem anymore of it touching. Remember, you need to remove the original circles. Okay. So we're good. There seems to be too much going on here. Seems to be touching more. We could just use that technique we just used now, but there's no need since they're kind of like in a straight line. Sorry. I think I selected the line. Stop selecting the line. Aha. Okay. So you can see how I changed that top curvature alone, but I still followed this line. I still followed this. Looking at this now, I think only one can go in here because we need to make sure this flows into this. Now we need to decide. We can't do both. We can decide to let this flow this way and cut it off here, or we let this flow this way and cut it off here. But I think it would be better to have it flow from here, flowing into here, then cut it off here. So you see these two, you need to duplicate them and bring it up here. These two duplicate, no, didn't duplicate originally. I hope I haven't created multiple duplicates. Okay, no. Select these two, duplicate, and drag it up here. Now you can see that there's an issue here, but we'll fix it later on. It's an easy fix. You already know what to do for that fix, but I'll show you, of course. I will show you. Michael will show you. Forgive my ramblings. I should be watching some kind of documentary as I'm working. Allows my mind not ramble. We're going to maintain 2, but I think we're getting to the point where 2 does not really suffice. And but is it really as wide as this? So let's keep going with 2 and let's see how that looks. Then we can decide. I'm liking the 2. I know there's a lot of space between it, but it's giving us those coverages that we want. 3 would mess it up. That's why when you see some rhinestone designs, you see some kind of space in between. Remember, we have every circle represents a rhinestone. That's why certain things can definitely not be made into rhinestone designs, unfortunately. Sometimes it's not impossibility. Sometimes it's that it loses details and it doesn't look like what you are trying to do anymore. So what's the point? If it's not looking like what you are trying to do, then it's weird. Now, this kind of place becomes a problem because, you know, 2 can't go in here. So what you can do is put this one here. I find a way to squeeze one here. So move this a bit, move this a bit, and kind of turned out better than I expected. Now these ones can now start going up. You could decide to do the alignment thing, but I want to not do it yet now because I'm having a feeling we may run into an issue at the bottom part. So let's just go one after the other like this, one after the other like this. Now we can duplicate and put here. See, we eventually got there and added one. So there are different ways you can get this done. All you need to do is to make sure you have all the tool sets, all the tools that are necessary, which I have shown you many times. All these tools that you use and your bag of tricks. And the truth is, as you practice, you could even come up with better ways of doing this. Much better ways that are faster, that are easier, doesn't waste as much time, because see how much time we've used in doing this, and this video is already almost an hour long. So if this was for a client, we have spent over an hour trying to just do Q, and we're not done. Although you could argue that Q is the biggest part of this and the others are not as big. If you notice, I'm trying to get this to flow in. Q is the biggest part of this. The others are not as big. So if Q is out of the way, I mean, big chunk of Q is done. The rest are easy to do. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to only do Q. And you're going to take what I've learnt and do the rest. That would be your class assignment. So at this point, I'm just duplicating and arranging as far as it will let me go. You could use the technique of drawing a line to the center of the circles to get this done as well, but I just decided to duplicate. Let's even do that here since we only want one. It doesn't really work. Let's see, what's the widest part? If you notice, I'm not putting it like here. I'm putting it like somewhere in between where the space is, so that the next circle can also be here, so they don't touch. Next circle is here. You notice all my what's it called now are not even following anything, which is, oh, this should have been ungrouped, which is the spacing in between each circle. I'm not following my principle because that principle doesn't work here. The ability, but then you're also making sure it doesn't look scattered. It doesn't look scattered. So we are going to make sure it's in between in betweens. So it's in between here, in between, not on top of themselves, because it won't touch. So we can just keep duplicating. No need to draw a line. I originally wanted to draw a line, but that the lines may not follow how we want it to be. You see, this outline also is kind of like space between the circles. Because if, for example, I selected these two, see how close they are? But if I got rid of the outline and only give it fill, you can see that there's a considerable space between them, as opposed to when it was just outline. And this space, there's no outline in rhinestones. Rhinestones don't have outlines. So there is, even though when it looks like the outlines are touching, in reality or in real life, they are not touching. There's good space between them, and the rhinestones will not touch each other. It's good space between them. In fact, you could argue that's why I only use hairline, because if I used something thicker like 1 point, you can see it's touching and it's not really touching. Poo, 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 poo. I know you are going to have a lot of questions, and I'm ready for your questions. But I hope you don't. I hope this is pretty straightforward, because it is. If you followed all the classes we're building up here, this now becomes a problem, because now there's this space here, but kind of like a quick fix too. But then there's this also part, we want this to flow in, so we'll come and fix this. Remember I said we'd fix this before. We'll draw another line here, but let's fix this one here. So what we're going to do is, since I think from somewhere around here there's enough space for them to align this way, we can get rid of all these ones in between, the in-betweeners. That used to be a show back in the day. Okay, center, curve it a bit, drag rather, and curve by dragging. Okay, let's try and get somehow, put this line, eyeball it, make it kind of be in the center, quick circles or curves. I think it came out pretty well. They did the circles on top. Now we need this one. Where do we want to start from? Let's start from somewhere as high up as this. Said I need you now, but find out you're always better. Oh, you're always better. Guys, come Queen. Old Spice. I'm going to bend that in a bit. Aha. Happening. Mind you, thinking lemonade. Lemonade. Ooh, now we're here. All we need is just one single line that will go this way, really. These spaces don't matter. And we could decide to go. This is the one we're trying to follow, really. You can change, like I said, you can change as long as it flows from here, like it goes this way. So you can just keep duplicating, change the height, or rather move it up a bit. If you notice, the duplications are following the same space. This is another thing you could do. This is Corel just automatically spacing it based on my last position. But you can see it's touching, so I'm just going in and rejigging it. Now we are trying to follow the original line, that red line. It went on a tangent earlier. Now, if this was some kind of logo, some of these things that we've done to alter the curvature may not work. So that's some of the constraints. But this one, since it's just a write-up and Queen, we could get away with it. I knew we'd get here and something like this would happen, where you can't really put one here, but of course the solution is pretty simple. Put one here, put one here, put one here, put one here. We could just go around like that, but there's no need for that. Okay, I want to make sure it's somewhere it's not touching before we do that draw line thing that I should, give this my techniques a name. Maybe you will help me give it a name. The love of God is coming, Queen, Old Spice. There's a steep, low line. Oh yeah, these videos somehow are quite heavy. I think maybe because I'm using a different screen recorder. What we're trying to do now is to create that line thing so that we can have equal spacing here to here. Remember, start that line from inside this at the center of the circle. Draw. Fine. Is it good? No, the space is kind of like too close. So we may need to change this parameter to 18, 0.18. Nah, it's kind of like too much. But I think it works better than that one. I think I'm gonna leave it. You see, the interesting thing is that I'm pretty sure yours would not look exactly like mine, which is okay, because I don't expect that you would follow everything hook, line, and sinker. But as long, hey, what happened? Have I been saving? Okay, I haven't. Please make sure you are saving, because I cannot imagine having to go through this all over again. To be honest, rhinestone work has become kind of boring to me. It's kind of boring. Oh no, it feels boring because I can't listen to music while I teach. I have to incorporate that somehow. So, that part is done. So you could say, no, there's not enough space there to put something. So now we want this to, what are we doing here? We need one here. It seems we do. And we take this up. Select all three. Distribute, select this one, take it here, select this one, take it here. No, originally we wanted one line, so I'm thinking one line doesn't work anymore. Duplicate it, bring it here. Hold, yes. And this as much as possible. Okay. So kind of like counterproductive, kind of, because now we need this to flow this way. So this needs to come here. We'll fix this data on. Let's do this so that it joins this way. Does this work? Not really. So I'm going to take all of this and shift it here so we can have that. No. Undo. Yeah, I think we'll just need that to go this way. I'm sorry, let's even follow the flow. Yeah, it is. So if it goes this way, it cuts now. Which is even more important, this one or this one? Nah, it's feeling weird. Okay, I think we're good. We'll get away with it. Yes, we should be able to get away with it. So just duplicate here. Yeah, that's another thing. Something like Rhinestone does. It would have done all these decisions for us. It would have created the curvatures. All we have to do is just fill. But now we have to determine the curvatures ourselves. Now, for something that does not require so many curves, then we wouldn't be. So for example, when we did the hair, we didn't have this many curves or trying to follow the flow, even though there were things like that there. It wasn't this much. We weren't trying to always come up with a flow and all that. So we're good for that. So we need to follow this one like this to come this way. So let's go. 1 hour plus, and we're still on cue. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. This is not a discouragement. This is me telling you that they say in work in Nigeria, soup way sweet, na money kill am. What it means is a good soup is you use good money to prepare a good soup. So if you are going to get really good rhinestone designs, if you are going to get clients that would pay good money for you to design for them, then you are going to pay money. There is a design I want to do for a client. I'm going to record as I'm doing that design and send it to you as well. I originally was supposed to make that design today. I'll send that design to. You are the Lord, that is your name. You will never share glory. This actually turned out better than I expected. Usually I would just duplicate so that I can see it without the outlines or the lines, any of the lines that I've drawn. So I'm delete all those lines and see what it looks like. With the lines there, it kind of gives it a look. What do you think? I think we have done a pretty good job, if I do say so myself. So, class assignment, get queen completed. The crown may be a little tricky, I confess, but give it a shot. In the next class, when you are done with this, I'll review your queen and show you where there are mistakes or ways to correct any of the things you've done. Now, the only thing I would say is the only place that is not looking so flowy is this point here. So, is this point here? It's not looking so flowy. So, this should have flown into this. That's where I would say there's an issue. This here. Like, for example, look at here. It flows perfectly. Here flows, although this kind of off, but quick is an easy fix. But here didn't exactly flow the way I wanted. So you look at it and follow one of the flows. The reason it doesn't flow is that it doesn't follow any of the flows. So this should have flown into this, or this should have flown into this. It didn't do any of the two. So that's obviously something you can create in your own design. Now, this line flowed well. So we need to get this line to flow here to fix this. Since this is already good, neither of these two are good. So there's no need. So you could get this flows. So get this to flow. That would be the only thing I would say about the design I made. Okay, so see you in the next class. Your take-home assignment is this. I'm going to send you the file. It's exactly the same size. So obviously the first thing would be to trace it. That's the first assignment. Then the second assignment would be to follow this class, do the queue, make sure this flows, complete the queen, and take a crack at the crown. Then we'll take it from there and crank it up a notch. All right.